Welcome back to the Avenue. It is another beautiful day in the Avenue, and thank you guys for joining me today. If you're returning, thank you for coming in. If you're new, welcome to the Avenue. This is a channel where we simply make money make sense. You don't have to be a millionaire, but we're going to make money make sense to everybody. And I know by the title, you were going, has Adrienne lost her mind on this? Because you all know I'm a realtor, right? And realtors sell houses. We buy and sell houses for folks, investment properties and all of that. Some of us do some leasing, but it is really, making sense sometimes if you rent. And we're going to talk about that. And I'm thinking rent in the form of temporarily, because when I was between houses, I rented. When I first moved out of my parents' house, me and my sister, we moved into a house. Now, my sister had lived in an apartment before. I had never lived in an apartment before, but we moved straight into a house. So I know what it is to move from home to home. Then when a second property came up and we decided to sell the first, we had to move into an apartment because that one was not ready. But we're going to get more into it, why renting may be the smartest thing you can do right now. Stay tuned.
She's a go-getter, alright. What a beautiful sight. Anything she sets her mind to, she stays on it day and night. She writes the checks, she signs the deeds. She plants the fruitful seeds and still finds the time to meet all her family needs.
First of all, let me say this and put this to rest. Renting is not throwing money away. I know a lot of people say renting is just throwing money away. You may hear that from some real estate agents. Oh, don't rent, you're just throwing money away. A thing that renting does accomplish, if you have to rent right now, is that you do have a roof over your head, right? So you're paying someone to have a roof over your head, to have a bedroom, a living room, a bathroom. There's some advantages to renting. You're not out on the streets, but you actually have a comfortable place to stay. So that is to your advantage. You're gonna have to pay someone. So might as well pay someone to rent somewhere. Now, I will advise, if you're renting, find a place that's reasonably priced and somewhere that's safe. Some people go all out and they want to have this lavish place to rent so that the friends can come over and see where they're living, right? But that place is not yours and you are paying the landlord to live there. I'm a landlord. I love renters, so I do not have a problem with renters whatsoever. But sometimes we need to bring it in and make it make sense. So if this is the case, it is giving you a place to stay, so you're not throwing money away. Another thing is you've not failed just because you're renting. It may be a temporary situation, and we're going to go through some of those situations where it just makes sense to rent. That's all it is to it. But it's not something that you fail, and you're never going to get a house. It's not like that. It may be something that's temporary. So let's jump right into that and give you the reasons why you should probably rent right now. One reason right off the bat that I would tell you, even as a realtor, that you need to rent is if you are new to that city and you're not familiar with the places or the streets or the areas where you may want to live, and you know that you're going to be living there for a while, I would probably rent the first 6 months at least to get familiar with where you really want to stay, what places that you'd like to visit. Just visit around the city and see where it is, close to the grocery stores, close to schools, that type of thing. And if your company ships you somewhere and they don't give you the luxury of kind of, staying there for about a month or so, even if you have to be in a hotel for a month, to kind of find the area, I would definitely rent. And then after 6 months or so, when I got things in order and knew exactly what I wanted to do, I would purchase then. So that's one reason to rent if you're new to a city. If you happen to be in some type of transition, such as, like I mentioned, I was moving from one house to another house. Well, the second house wasn't fully built yet. We needed time for the house to be completed, but we had sold the first house. So in that case, we needed to rent. We had two options, rent or go back to the folks' house. We're not going back to the folks' house. We're definitely going to rent until the house is ready. So you could be in some type of transition, and that's one reason, another reason why you should consider renting. Yet another reason people consider renting is they just don't want the responsibility of owning a house and everything that comes with it. So if you don't like to do yards, if you don't like to be responsible for your repairs, if a house is really too large for you, that may be a reason. If you just in your mind, I don't want to own a house, that's perfectly fine, then rent. And that is a good decision to go ahead and rent, because if you buy a house and don't really want to own a house just because your friends are buying them, or somebody tells you you're wasting money until you start purchasing a house, make sure that's really what you want to do, because you don't want to feel imprisoned by something that you did not really want to do. So consider that the decision is yours and you need to do what's best for you. Now, this reason is huge and I do not want to overlook it. Sometimes, you all, people are just not ready to purchase a house. You don't have a plan down, you don't have your finances in order or anything like that. So why go get into a house where you're going to have property taxes, insurance, you may be some repairs, that type of thing, and you don't have either a budget or a plan initially, even living in an apartment. Get yourself together, right? Once you get yourself together, get a plan in order and get money saved to put a down payment on a house, and really explore, talk to a realtor and find out what are the things I need to consider if I really want to buy a house. But get yourself in order. Don't let anyone push you into buying a house, because like I said, it's going to be a prison. You're not ready. You're not ready living in an apartment, right? Because your finances aren't together. You may not have a budget. You may not have an emergency fund. You may not have your down payment, your accounts together. All of that, it gives you time when you rent to get these things together. You can have meetings with yourself to get it together if your desire is to be a homeowner, and I would hope most people's desire is to be a homeowner, but if that's what you want to do, you can absolutely do that. But let's get prepared while we are actually renting somewhere, get our house in order, get our money in order, get our lives in order, so the transition when you buy a house will be much easier to transition over to from an apartment or from wherever you're renting, even if you're renting a house, from that to there. Because when you get into a house, everything's on you. Repairs on you, maintenance on you, everything is on you at that point. So you need things together. It is very doable, but I would say get with a realtor and find out the realities of owning your own home. In most cases, home ownership is a long-term commitment. So the smart thing to do, if you have a job or if you're in a situation where you're moving every 2 to 3 years, is probably to rent, because you don't know when it comes time for you to sell at that point what the market is going to be doing, if the market is going to be up or if it's going to be down. The longer you stay in the home, the better chance you'll have to build equity in the house. And so if the market is up or down, you can still sell and not be upside down on that house. You want to make a profit if you possibly can, but even if you can break even when it comes time to move, that's a great move. But if you're in there only for 2 or 3 years, that may be a gamble for you. And I would hate to see that happen, 2-year period of time, 3-year period of time, especially if you're not putting a huge down payment. You don't want to be upside down where you're having to bring money, and I mean lots of money, to the table just to get from under that mortgage so you can sell the house and move on, move your life and your family on to the next spot. So if this is the case for you, renting is probably the smartest thing to do. You can get somewhere. We know leases 6 months, a year, and you can break them, and sometimes or get, they'll end, the term will end. Or sometimes the apartments, if you break them, you'll have to pay a fee to get out of them, but it's easier than trying to sell a house. So keep that in mind. If it's a 2 or 3 year term somewhere before you get up and move the family, or you move somewhere else, it may be a good idea to go ahead and rent for that time period. Whether you are a homeowner or a renter, hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date to the latest information I'm bringing to you. I am a realtor here in Texas. I believe in home ownership. I'm going to stand 10 toes down on that, first of all. But there are some cases where renting is the best thing for you to do. before you move to home ownership. But if you can own something and you want to own it, I'll put that in there. You want to own it, the ground under your feet, go ahead and make a plan and go for it. You know, home ownership is wonderful. It's a great thing to do. I own my home. I have a mortgage on it, but it's my home, and then I actually own rental properties also. So keep that in mind. And if you need help with anything, reach out to me, because I operate here in Texas, in the state of Texas, but I have referrals that I can give you all over the United States. So hit me up if you need to, or if you have questions in general, just let me know. I'm here to help. Now, these next three things, and I'm going to combine them all together, are the biggest that keep people renting and not purchasing a home. Let's say you have the desire to purchase a home, you really want one. Some of the things that will hinder you from purchasing the home or delay the process is, number one, your credit score is not where it needs to be. Your credit score needs to be up, normally around 670 or so, and you won't have much of a problem. If you can get it into the 700, 720, 760, you're golden. But if the credit score is lower than some of these, you will have to pay extra fees for that. So you don't want to do that. You want the best possible interest rate you can get, and you want to pay the least amount of fees that they're asking you to pay. So make sure your credit score is where it needs to be. The second thing that keeps people from buying a home is they don't have a down payment. In most cases, you're going to be bringing anywhere from 3.5% to 10% to buy a house, right? It could be 3.5%, it could be 5%, it could be 10% to purchase your home. If you want to bring even more, you can bring 20%. You know, when I purchase homes, it's usually 20, 30, 40% that I'm bringing to the table, because I want that monthly payment as low as possible. I have equity and other things, and so I'll pull the money out and put it into the house and let the equity in the house grow. So, but the down payment is a hindrance to people. Even if they have their credit score in order, they don't have the money saved up. So get your credit score in order. Number one, get a down payment saved up. See what the average price of homes, or see what the price of the home that you would like to purchase, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage in your area, or that subdivision you want to purchase it in. See what it costs, and then calculate 3.5%, calculate 5%, calculate 10%, and you would know exactly what you need to bring to the table for a down payment. Now, save up more money than the down payment, because once you get there, there may be some other things that come into play that you may have to put money for. And once you move into the house, turning on the utilities is one thing. And then if you need window treatments, or if you need furniture, all of that will come into play when you actually move into a house. So it's a big chunk of money to do this. But even with renting, when you move into a place to rent, you're going to have the first month's rent, sometimes the first and last month rent, sometimes the first, last month rent, and a security deposit. For me, it's the first month rent and a security deposit that you'll have. So it's not a small amount of money. And then when we start talking about animals that you want to bring in, pets, that costs another fee. So it's not inexpensive to rent or to purchase. But if you purchase, you will be building equity into that house. So that's the second thing that hinders people from doing that. The third thing that hinders people from purchasing a house for themselves is their debt to income ratio. You have more debt that's higher than what they want you to have when you purchase a house. Now, I'm not a lender, and it may be about 35%, 30 to 40%. You can't have over that amount of debt to income as far as your ratio goes for you to purchase a house. And this is for your protection, because if you have car payments and if you have loan payments and then you add this house payment in there, you don't want to be house poor, making all these payments to these people, and all you can do is come home, cook, and sit on the couch and eat. You can't go out, you can't do anything fun, you can't go on trips, because all your money's taken up in the house. So that's another thing we want to do. Make sure we consider houses within our price range, right? We don't want to go out and just buy the most expensive thing that the lender says that we can buy. So, but those three things hinder people the most from purchasing their home. And one more tip, if it's a first-time home buyer, know that this is not going to be your dream home. You're going to get a house, and the beautiful thing about buying a house that's not your dream home is you get to figure out what you want in your dream home. You can live at a comfortable level and figure out, you know, my next house, I'm going to get this. This is what I want for my next house. And that way you'll know, because when you move out of a small apartment into a house, it's going to be spacious to you at first, but then you're going to find out the things that you really want in that home. So it is advantageous to you to, as a first-time home buyer, to get something that's comfortable for you to afford and comfortable for you to live in, because if you're paying for something, when you come home, you want to be happy to be there, you know, so keep that in mind. But if we can get these three financial areas together, you have a great chance at buying a home for yourself. The last reason I want to give you for this video, where people need to continue to rent, you need to be renting, is if you're focused on other financial goals. Some people, the goal is not to purchase a house. The goal may be to build up their retirement. The goal may be to invest in the stock market heavily and get that solid for you. The goal may be to do a myriad of other things. And if that's what your focus is, you may want to travel some, you know. You may not want to get locked down to a home right now. If you're single and, you know, just want to travel around, have some fun, that's what your focus is and that's what you want to do. You can also be setting aside money for a house, but still have the freedom to come and go as you choose to. And some people I have known to, you know, stay in the same city, but they move from apartment to apartment to apartment if they get a better deal, or if for some reason the person next to them they don't like, so they'll move to a different apartment. Or if a new apartment complex comes up, they want to go there, they may do something like that. Or if they're on second floor and they want to be on first floor and something becomes available, they may maybe do something like that. But, you know, for the most case, if your focus is on something else. Now, I would say this, if the difference in owning a home, making that payment, and the payment of rent, you need to do something with that money in between. Just don't let it, just don't spend it. Don't idly let it sit in the bank. It's not paying you a good interest rate, but consider investing that money somewhere else, because you can still build wealth while you're in an apartment or while you're renting instead of buying a home. And that's what we want to focus. We don't want to miss that point. That's a very important point. You know, it's comfortable. It's nice to have extra money, but just don't go spend it and blow it on things that are very unnecessary right now when you could be building your wealth. So get your focus together. If it's not home ownership right now, fine, but make sure you have your focus in order and continue to build that wealth. Now, last but not least, I will tell you this: renting, when it becomes a problem, is when you continue down that same road of not having a plan, not investing the money in something, and not moving from your current position to get better, just spending money and being comfortable where you are. Because, you know, like I said, I have renters and they are paying for my property. And once the property's paid off, they're putting money in my pocket. They're paying my taxes, my insurance for that property, and putting money in my pocket. So we're all in real estate one way or another. Either you're buying your home or you're buying something for somebody else. You know, you may be buying down the house for them. And for a long time, I have one property that's paid off, but my tenants paid for it. Nothing came out of after the initial amount I put down, the tenants paid for it 100%. And once it was paid off, guess what? They started paying me, and I got back everything I had ever put into this house. And then if I were to sell the house sometime in the future, I'm going to reap the benefits of, I'm getting my initial money back that they paid for, and then whatever it's appreciated at, I'm going to get that money also. So it's a beautiful thing to me. I understand finances in this way. So let's not stay stuck in renting. I am a realtor. And I do like to help folks buy and sell, but not before time. We have those conversations. We don't want anyone to get into something and be house poor. So just so you know, renting can be temporary, and that's the way I look at it, unless you don't want to own a home. And with that, I will see you in the next video.
Go Adrienne. Humble go get a bless. Let's go.